Hey all, I'm out visiting my parents' property this week, and they have a small little garden going on here that my mom's been working on. Really started strong last year, and they're working on their second year at the garden. But I also have a few little projects here at their place that I'd like to share with you. Some stuff I've been kind of doing when I visit. So let's check out some elderberry bushes. These here are cuttings of elderberry bushes that we planted last year, around this time last year. Last year, these bushes, these cuttings, didn't really produce any new above ground growth. They didn't branch out any extra branches that were already on the cutting, leafed out, and all of their work here was underground, working on roots. This year, they're finally starting to work on some above ground growth with some new stems. I haven't found anything popping out at the soil level. Elderberries eventually will send up new shoots around the base and with a lot of clumping, but we see some green softwood coming out of these bushes. I imagine this year they'll get a few small flowers from these bushes, and then berries, of course, from that, but not much. I'm interested to see how much growth they put on in their second year. And we're just kind of slowly watching it. This is a really great location for elderberries. There's a stream or a little creek running right back here, maybe 20 feet away from where the bushes are planted. They really enjoy wet soil. It's one of the reasons they transplant so easily from cuttings, is that they evolved near wet soil, and it was possible and likely that things could flood and wash them away downstream, and so these plants evolved a mechanism of replanting themselves downstream pretty easily. And so you can take a cutting from these plants, shove it in the ground. I think we shoved 4 cuttings in the ground last year, and there's 3 that survived and that are going to thrive here. So 75% success rate for practically no work. These will get pretty big. They'll get to be maybe 10 feet high and really branch out. And it's a little shady here, although not much. But the elderberries will handle some shade. I've seen them grow in the cover of woods as long as they get a couple hours of direct sunlight a day. I also wanted to show you one of my favorite plants in the whole world. So let's check it out. This is some horseradish that my father's been growing. He wants to harvest the roots in the fall to make your classic horseradish sauce to put on meat and stuff like that over winter. But this here is my favorite plant in the world. This is apple mint. It is a variety of mint, like a spearmint or peppermint. It has these large, kind of fuzzy leaves. And it's my favorite plant in the world because of just its smell. This is the plant if you're from the Lancaster area or any other like Mennonite hub in the world, you're probably familiar with meadow tea. And this is the plant you use to make meadow tea. Yeah, you can use spearmint or peppermint or other types of mint, but apple mint is the way to go. And meadow tea for me is just the taste, the definition of summer. And what's especially special about these plants here, for me at least, is that these apple mint plants came from my grandfather's or maybe even my great grandfather's farm, and I dug up a huge clump of them and placed them in my yard back home. And so 3-4 generations of Lawbox have been have been taking cuttings and making tea from these apple mint plants here. I've kind of been nicknaming them the variety Winding Creek apple mint plants in honor of the farm that they came from. If you have not yet had the pleasure of smelling apple mint and then tasting meadow tea made from it, you are missing out in life, and I strongly recommend getting your hands on some of this. Just a few notes. This stuff, like any other mint, is pretty aggressive in how it grows. Clumps like this, and then it just spreads out. So I imagine that they probably planted some here, and then it's just spread all around the entirety of this shed. And you even see some popping out over here. And really their method of controlling it right now is just mowing. They're just mowing around it. If they stopped mowing, it would spread all over this field. For some people, that's a reason to grow it in containers, like a 5-gallon bucket. For me, I love it because it won't grow too much taller than this. So you can see it would act as a great ground cover surrounding something like a pear tree or even the elderberry bushes. It would keep away a lot of the weeds, while also this is a fantastic attractant for pollinators. In a couple months here, it's gonna send out just a ton of flowers, and the pollinators love these mint plants. So I just let it grow wild. I just let it grow, and I don't really worry about containing it at all, mainly because I harvest it so much for the tea that's kind of my method for keeping it back. But yeah, you can grow it in buckets. You can just mow around it. Apple mint, my friends, check it out.